expectation that you will tell your story again and again and again. You know, I said this to a group of women the other day. I was expected to tell my story about Trav and our family to a succession of professionals. They were things I had never told my own mother. And you never knew what they would do with that information, whether or not it would be held in respect. And I doubt it. And I see parents going through those indignities now, again and again, stripped, absolutely stripped. For what? A right that we have in this country. Okay, Nick, time to brush your teeth.
10-year-old Anika has autism and attends her local school. Even before she started school, her parents knew she'd need one-on-one support so that her behavioural and education needs did not affect other kids in the class.
We've come a long way. The child that Nika was at 5 going into school to now at 10 in year 6. She's very used to the routine of getting up, getting dressed and going to school. Nika was really like a wild horse. She was just a child completely out of control. I had no control. I couldn't get her to sit at the table. I couldn't get her to do anything, to follow any instruction. And it was incredibly frustrating for both parties.
Frustrated by the lack of any ongoing guarantee of support, Jackie Gruthius and her husband have put themselves under enormous financial pressure. They're paying for their child's educational needs themselves.
For 3 years we funded teacher aid 10 hours per week, so it was $150 a week, and that was really successful, and quite often the teacher aid would set up her own program.
Careful management of Anika and daily routine has helped her progress.
In the mornings, particularly going to school, that's an important thing, that I keep it really quiet and calm, and everything stays the same so that we can get off to school without Anika having getting upset about anything. I like to start the day calm.
What I like about school is when I learn about maths and reading.
In your lunchbox, it's the same food every day.
Well, I like playing in the playground and learning about things.
But the hard thing is keeping everything exactly the same. So it has to be calcium. It can't be a different brand. Can't be a different colour. It must be strawberry.
We learn about volcano facts. And we always do writing.
Okay, Nick, you ready? Let's go.
Anika is one of the 93% of kids with a disability who don't qualify for Oars funding. Their schools and parents just manage as best they can.
We thought because all children were entitled to an education that she would go into mainstream school and the support would be there. Did she hold my hand? When we got to the school, we realised that that wasn't the case at all. There's no teacher aid waiting there to take your child and look after and help them learn. And the SEED grant that the school has to use is, at our school of 650 children, is equivalent to 2 teacher aides. I was nervous, Nika going to school. I was really nervous, but that was the only option actually, was for her to go to mainstream school. The school was always quite welcoming of taking Anika, which was great. See ya.
Bye, Mum.
Mwah. See you, darling. She's a completely different child now. Yeah, she goes off quite happily to school.
Anika's education has so far cost the Gruthius family more than $150,000, added to their mortgage.
Nika's incredibly lucky that she was born into a family that, one, has a very determined mother, and two, a very supportive husband who goes out to work, and all the money that I earn goes on Anika's therapy.
There's no question the local school has embraced Anika. In the classroom, she does much the same work as other students. They also happily act as buddies, supporting her.
We're doing sentence starters from books that Anika chose.
Well, I
I would issue these books because they look funny.
But the bulk of Anika's progress has come from her teacher aid, paid for by Mum and Dad.
God, just leave that one on there, Anika. Good girl. Now you've got a quarter. Leave it there, love. You want to put it on there already?
Yeah.
Those parents know how difficult it is for teaching in this country, and they don't want to add to that burden, and they don't want the guilt of it. And I think that's a very sad reflection of our society today. But I know that's how parents think. They do not want the guilt, they do not want the burden.
Shall we start reading this book together?
Okay.
And you've got your special card.
He's drained.
We have to get real about the lives of our families, the marriage breakups, siblings being neglected for one child with particular needs, parents having to fight and struggle and being worn out in the process.
Four-year-old Amelia Reid has Prader-Willi syndrome. She is a little girl who finds it hard to master even the most basic play. She's tiny. As well as her intellectual impairment, she tires easily. Her parents, Debbie and Derek, have worried about sending her to the right school.
When she goes to school, she's already got the symptoms of the main one for Prader-Willi that people are aware of, which is overeating, never feeling full or satiated. There's the fact that she could be scavenging through rubbish bins or eating inappropriate things. So there's a safety issue there that she needs to be watched at playtime and lunchtime. Just her wandering, doesn't really have a great attention span and is so quiet and very small, she can just wander off. Hop up here. Oh, up my days. Yeah, this is quite common. She's just, she's odd that she won't go to sleep during the day at home, so she just gets worse during the day. So yeah, a full day at school is going to be hard work, isn't it? Oh, that was a big yawn. Where we are here on the North Shore, we're zoned for 2 different schools. We've interviewed those 2 plus another one. All right, step. One of the schools that we're zoned for is totally unreceptive to taking a special needs child, it seemed. So much so that they had an hour-long spiel of why we should go to a special needs school.
Schools are required to take children, all the kids in the area, and there is a law. However, it's really easy for a school to say your child would be better educated. There are better resources down the road. We haven't done it before. There's an attitude and a look that a parent can spot a mile away.
We could send Amelia there and thwart them, but then she wouldn't be supported. We're not going to do that to her. With Amelia's eating issues, it's quite important that school lunches and things like that are taken away or locked up or things like that, something simple like that. Not even prepared to do that. So her more complex needs were unlikely to be satisfied there. Interviewing now to the second school that we are zoned for just kind of showed there's a huge range of attitudes out there within the school system. That they were so receptive, just poles apart, chalk and cheese. It's quite amazing.
Derek and Debbie are organised professional people.